Season 3 of The Boys premieres tomorrow on Prime Video, and I'm very excited to talk about it. So this is going to be a spoiler-free review of the season. So without further ado, here we go. Season 2 left a lot hanging in the air, a lot of character arcs that were going to progress into something different, and there were so many things that were left to be resolved that it's not surprising that when Season 3 starts off, we find a lot of different things happening. Obviously, when it comes to the Seven, things are a bit dicey. Homelander has recently proven himself to be kind of an asshole, and especially after the Stormfront business, there are a lot of people who are trying to figure out how reliable he is as a hero. And there's also the idea of people hanging things over him as a threat that if we ever release this information, the public would not like you anymore. At the same time, when it comes to the boys, they're trying to basically track down other supes who could be causing trouble and could be a potential problem. And they're working with the government this time in order to make sure that happens in a much more legal way, but at the same time, try and do it in a way that it does clear out some, problems from the streets. I'm gonna keep that very, very brief. That's some of the stuff that's happening. There's also some new plots that are introduced, new characters that were introduced, some of whom I'll talk about in a little bit. But aside from that, me going into any more of this season would be potentially a massive spoiler. We got a lot of terms and conditions when it came to reviewing certain things we just cannot reveal, and I would like to keep it that way. The season starts tomorrow on a week-by-week basis, but for the purposes of this review, Amazon, in a very unprecedented move, gave the entire season. And so I'm going to be reviewing the entirety of it. And what you get with The Boys Season 3, as incredibly privileged as I am seeing it so early, is exactly what you think. Imagine if everything that you saw in the first season was tripled. So 3 times the violence, 3 times the explicit content, 3 times the insanity. Everything over here is dialed up to that level. And what you get is such a bonkers season that I'm honestly surprised it worked. I feel like there are so many moments in here that are going to get very audible reactions from people. There are certain visuals and certain things that are just going to be absolutely incomprehensible to process. Like, that really just happened. And I loved it. Every second of this season is an absolute blast. I really, really loved watching every moment come to fruition. And though it has a slower start, it makes sense because things are obviously very dicey for all the characters right now. It's not like anyone's really doing super well. And with the kind of ego boost that Homelander's been having, that being potentially attacked and him sort of going over the edge and completely losing his freaking mind, that happens over here too. And kudos to an actor like Anthony Starr, because everything I've seen from him seems like a genuinely great guy. And I feel like I've said this in the previous 2 seasons reviews as well, but it's amazing how someone who seems to be so down to earth and really nice in real life can play someone who is so oozing with absolute vile, disgusting bile. Like, you just want this guy to get yeeted into the sun. I mean, it's remarkable what a disgusting character this guy is. And season 3, like I said, triples down on everything. So I'm not gonna go into details, but this is the worst you've seen this character. But speaking of characters, one of the characters they introduce in this, who I think is the real star of this season, is Soldier Boy, played by Jensen Ackles. This guy shows up and it's awesome. This is probably like the zenith of the series in terms of how fucking crazy it can be. And this guy gives an amazing performance. And I think a lot of fans and a lot of people are very excited about this character, so I don't see you guys getting disappointed at all. Like, he really does steal the entire thing. Everybody else, when it comes to the usual roster, is really great. Carl Urban is once again incredible as Billy Butcher. Jack Quaid is fantastic as Huey. Erin Moriarty as Starlight is still great. Really, everybody does, like, all the other characters do really, really great. But another performance in this that I feel gets a lot more attention this time and a lot more time to shine is Karen Fukuhara, who plays Kimiko. Obviously, she can't speak, but she has all of those powers, and there's a lot of emotional moments with her in this season that really, really do land. And her relationship with Frenchie, the way it's built up in this season, is really sweet. And once again, it's one of my favorite aspects of the entire show, especially when it comes to the personal character beats. It's really well handled. The entire show, obviously, so far has been a commentary on certain things, and season 3 has its own commentaries. There are obviously things that have happened since season 2 when it comes to real society as well. And so you're going to find a lot of parallels, a lot of things that they reference in here that you may have seen some stuff from, like in the news cycles over the last couple of years. And that doesn't surprise me at all. Like, there's one thing in particular that comes up, which is going to be such a big, like, hey, this is obviously what we're doing a play on. And it makes sense. The seasons have been built on making some kind of commentaries. So season 3 doesn't shy away from that. It sort of steers into that even more. And all of that, I would say, is mostly handled very well. Some of it gets a little too on the nose, and sometimes it goes like, all right, we got the point, we get the satire. But it's still really solidly done stuff. I mean, that was my issue even, I think, with the first couple of seasons. It's like, there are times where it's like you got what they're going for, and then it was like, all right, we can move past it now. Like, try to focus on the rest of the story. But really, that's about it. Aside from that, when it came to everything else, from the action sequences, which are some of the best the seasons have ever had, there's a couple of them in particular that are awesome. Like, that they're just downright remarkable, and some crowd pleasing stuff for sure. And along with this, I should mention, this is not a spoiler, by the way, it's in the trailers, but some of them have temporary powers now, like for reasons that I'm not going to go into. But Billy, for instance, has laser eyes, and that stuff it's got a kick. And some of the stuff that is happening as a result of that edge that's given, just wait and see. I feel like I want to keep this review deliberately super vague because I want people to check it out. I want people to experience it for themselves. And so I don't want to say too much about it, but the way this thing builds and the kinds of twists and turns that it takes are really, really great. And because we got a lot of terms and conditions on what not to say, it's good that I say nothing. And with the weekly release that it's getting, I feel like it's going to really benefit viewers. There are things that I feel like you'll want to talk about going into the next week and the week after that. And I'm excited to see the conversations that stem as a result of it. But officially, The Boys, with season 2 itself, cemented itself as one of the better comic book adaptations I knew. Season 3 further cements that. And it's a season that I really, really enjoyed. And I can't wait to see more of what The Boys come up with. I'm going to give The Boys season 3 an A-. Guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys check out The Boys season 3 soon. If you guys are a fan of this season so far, there's no way I don't see you guys being a fan of this one. As always, if you like this, guys, please do subscribe. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the movies.